Hello, welcome. It's Brenda over at Blasterworks, and we are starting part 3 and hopefully the last part, the last segment of my desk protector art piece. I did originally start this video by adding, you can see here, I used a stencil. I used this stencil and I used some gloss gel medium through the stencil. And I did add that. That was going to be the start of this video, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted. And I tried to, let me show you. I was going to try to add black to it because I want to add more black to this. Just in spots, I wanted to add more black and also more color. Because originally I was going to add his collar, and I'm still thinking about it, but I don't think I will. I was going to add his collar to the bottom. It would go through the canvas. I would have to cut slits, have it go through the canvas, have some of this over the collar if possible, or another piece of paper, like make it look like fur. But so I wanted to add more black because this is so black and only his nose is pretty black. So I was going to try to balance out the darkness of this collar with these little black spots, but I'm not going to do that because these didn't come out as raised up as I'd like. So they're very close to the canvas. So if I try to dry brush, it just kind of goes in between. It just doesn't work. So those I'll probably just leave as they are. As you can see, there's a little bit of shine where I was doing it. So those I think I'll just leave them as they are. I'm not going to try to paint them. And I think also because this is canvas, so when I press down and I try to do it, it just, it's just too soft. So my next attempt is going to be using this stencil with paste. All right, so it's going to turn out white, and just put this in some areas around the canvas, but with paste. And then that I will be able to either I'll color the paste before I put it through the stencil, or I'll just paint over it. I'll put the stencil down and then maybe just use a sponge and paint the paste over it. I'm not sure yet, but I just want to add a little bit more raised texture to it. Not a lot, but just a little bit more. Kind of like these that were already on here. Like this was already on here from before. But something like that, just in sporadic places. Actually, I could even add more of those now that I think about it. And that was just using stuff like this, So I'll just keep that out as a reminder. So maybe I'll add some more of that. But anyway, so now I'm starting the video narrating and letting you guys know what my thought process is. So definitely going to do some raised elements with paste, and then I'll paint them somehow. I'm going to also add paint with a brayer, just kind of, I kind of already did it up here when I was trying to color these circles and it didn't work. And I thought, and I kept them, I didn't clean them off. And I thought, well, that's okay. I'll just leave that up there. So, maybe I'll just boop, boop, boop around it too. I'm not sure yet. And then I also think I'm going to just stamp using like these little stamps, just stamp around with color and paint, just to add a little bit more, interest to it. But it's looking pretty good already just as it is. But yeah, so that's where we are. So this video will be probably just doing the paste, adding some paint, adding some stamping, and that's it. So I might even just do it in real time and not speed it up, depending on the length of the video. All right, that's what we're going to do on this one, and then hopefully we'll be done. And I'm not sure about adding the collar. I can always add it later. I'm thinking about also framing the piece, so I'm not sure. Maybe I can add the collar on the frame itself. So if I don't add the collar, which I probably won't on this video because I still want to think about it, you guys can comment below what you guys think, if I should add the collar to the canvas or maybe just on the frame once I find the frame. And once I find the frame, I'll just update with a picture or something here. Okay. All right. Anyways, I got to go to work. But when I come home, this is what I'm going to work on. See y'all in a bit. All right, guys, you know what? I think I'm going to stop here. I feel like I could keep going and keep going, but I don't want to overdo it either. I'm glad I thought about going over this with my finger instead of just leaving it clear, because that actually worked. You can actually see the circles with the bronze metallic paint. See there? So that actually made me happy. It adds a little bit of shine to it, and since I have a few bits in here, it kind of makes it more cohesive. I was gonna do like brayering some color on and maybe some splatters, but I think it doesn't need it. I know it feels like these little stamps are oblivious or kind of you don't really see them, but it does add a little bit more character, a little bit more things to look at, like all these little stars in here. It's hard to see, but I'm going to try to take some good pictures for you guys and post it at the end of this video, like close-up shots of little pieces. But overall, I'm quite happy with it. I hope you guys are too. Yeah, my Hansi boy. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this journey. Feels good to get this out of my head and onto something, even though it may not turn out exactly how you envision it. At least we gave it an effort. We got our ideas out, and it just feels good to have something completed. I will look into framing this. Originally, I was just going to hang it on the wall as is, but if I come across a frame, I might frame it and then, like I said, add the collar to the frame. Maybe just hang it off of it. I don't know. But whatever I do, I will update you guys if I come across something like an old vintage frame or whatever. It's just finding the right size without going somewhere and having it professionally framed. That's the only thing. If I find a 14 by 16 frame that meets my standards, then I'll be lucky. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video series. And I do appreciate you guys coming along for the ride, as always, and for your support of my Hodgepodge channel. All right. So, anyways, I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks again. Love y'all. Tschüss.